Hello, hello, hello. This is Big Chonis. Good afternoon, my friends. July 18th. It is a Thursday. I am going to do a little show here because we get some interesting price action that is definitely worth talking about. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoy my content. Remember to smash the likes and also hit that follow button. Those of you that are joining me from YouTube, those of you that are joining me from my Twitter page. Remember to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Big Chonis. Please hit that follow button. Tell your friends. All right, so let's get into it. I want to do some Bitcoin, and then I would like to take your questions. Haven't done a Q&A in a while. So if anybody out there has any questions about the chart, about the Bitcoin market, or whatever, please feel free to put those questions down in the chat. And once I get finished with my Bitcoin analysis, I will definitely see if I can respond to some of your questions. I wanted to start with the 15-minute chart over the past several days here of price action. Let me make my numbers here a little bit bigger. Just realized they're very small. Let's do that. There we go. You can probably see those a lot better now. Okay, so what a day it has been. I'm thinking about this thing. I'm thinking about why did this happen? What really just happened here where Bitcoin is, about to fall through 9K and then it's back up to 10K like never happened. And then we're about to fall through 9K again, and then it's back through 10K like it never happened. And the first thing I will say about this is, as somebody like myself who has experience with leverage trading and scalp trading, that you have a situation here where you get both sides of the coin having the ability to take very profitable trades, but not for long. If you caught the short before Bitcoin fell through 10.5 or even up here at 11,000, you're sitting pretty in some very good money, very good profit. And moves like these are what basically try and shake you out of your very good positioned short. My friends, Bitcoin has fallen tremendously. In the past, we'll say that for later. In the past several days here, I mean, we have fallen since the 10th. So in 8 days, Bitcoin fell $4,000. Okay, and it didn't just fall $4,000 in a straight line. Of course, it had these little ups and little downs, and little ups and lower lows and lower highs, right? And if you either added to your short or took some off the table every time there was an oversold bounce. But this is a lot of money that Bitcoin has fallen in a rather short amount of time. And environments like these, where you have these big bearish moves or big bullish moves very quickly, can yield you very surprising and very quick moves in the price action. That's what we see today, where Bitcoin moves $1,000 in 15 minutes. Now, a move of $1,000 definitely is different from when Bitcoin's at 4 or 5,000 to when Bitcoin's over 10,000. Let's call it. It's a different percentage, but still, it's a more meaningful move. So for now, what happened and what did this move now? Because of this move, where do things sit? So for starters, the good news. We'll look on the bullish case first. The good news, we just advanced back over 10K. This is good news. Another good news, it could be derived that we've just started a very nice impulsive move. Either this was 1, we just had our 2, and we are in our 3 currently. Maybe 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Maybe we're in our 3. We do a little pullback here, maybe retest 10K, but don't go below our wave 1 here, and then do another advance to get us, let's say, back up to almost $12,000. This is definitely a bullish scenario that is probably in play because of the impulsiveness of what we're seeing here in this price action. This move is not like I can't see this as some sort of a C wave. It'd be hard for me to see this as some sort of like a some sort of ABC corrective C wave, which we've seen in the past, just because of the veracity of this. So this does, for me, and look, definitely very impulsive. Let me pull the volume up there. I was actually talking to, just trying to figure out where, how you define this market right now. And basically, the way I do that is I go at different time frames. Um, the market structure right now is bearish on lower time frames, but it is still bullish on the highest of time frames. So let's go to our weekly chart here. We're about a little more than halfway through the weekly candle. Okay. We have once again done a couple things of interest. For starters, my very first pit stop for the weekly chart was going to be the EMA 12, and the EMA 12 and the price action hit on a freaking dime, people. Tell me indicators don't work. And that bounce was expected when this first indicator was hit. And what's interesting, what's very interesting, is that you can realize how much higher the Bitcoin price action was above this EMA. It was way above it, and it was so far above it that it had all the room from the tippity top here to where the EMA was the major and first support on the weekly chart. And the weekly chart, unlike lower time frames, is actually still very bullish. We have a lower wick now. Even if the price action was still down here at 9K, I would still argue it's above the EMA 12, which is our first pit stop here. EMA 26 still at the mid sevens, okay, and climbing every day. So we're bullish on the weekly. We were, I should say this, we are still bullish on the 3-day because we held the EMA 26. And just as the EMA 12 held on the weekly, the failsafe of the 3-day, boom and boom, double test EMA 26 and hold. And now our price is above our EMA 12. It's like a double bullish there. So we're bullish on the weekly, we're bullish on the 3-day. The daily, and I put a tweet out about this morning. Where is it? Here it is. EMA 12 in first bear cross since February. Bitcoin needs to get back above $10,000 to prevent this intraday bear cross from falling through. And sure enough, like 20 minutes later, there it was, and there it is. And as you can see, let me zoom in here. This line was below the yellow line several hours ago until the bullish bounce happened. Now they've separated. Now, the reason on the daily this is so significant, okay, and let me do this. This is how I like to do it. We're going to hide the price, okay? We're going to hide the price, hide the volume. We're just going to keep the EMAs, okay? And you can see that ever since we had a little bull cross here that lasted a day, came back down. Ever since right here, February 15th, we had a bull cross on the daily EMA 1226, and we have held that cross all the way to the top. And every time along the way where we almost went bearish, we almost went bearish, we almost went bearish, we almost went bearish, the market, the bulls stepped in and have held the bullish cross. Now, don't get me wrong here. As you can see, we're still very close. And it would take Bitcoin to expand and hold over 10.5 now and continue price action into the 11s to re-expand this once again. But this move has saved the daily chart from going bearish. So we have a bullish weekly, we have a bullish 3-day, we have a bullish daily, just barely. But as I begin to go down the ladder and down the price ranges, and down the time frames, 12-hour, here's our bear cross. We've now back tested our EMA 26. So this is a bearish back test, okay? But you see our EMA 12 is below our 26. So now we're bearish on the 12-hour. We have been for a while. We are still bearish on the 6-hour, although not as much. And look at that. We are now regained support above EMA 26 on the 6-hour. We are still bearish on the 4-hour, but again, looking better. And now we've closed, or we've almost, look at this, we're about a half hour away from closing this 4-hour candle, which means we're a half hour away from closing our second consecutive candle. We are still over these EMAs on the 4-hour. And now here's the 1 hour, which has regained its bullish EMA stance. Now, this is a low time frame. You can see along the way down, we went bearish, we went slightly bullish, bearish, bull cross, bear cross, slight bull cross, and now we're bull crossing once again. So as you can see, lower time frames are more susceptible from going bull to bear, but we're bearish in the 4, we're bearish in the 6, we're bearish in the 12, and we're bullish on the higher time frames. And because of that, you could argue from the higher time frame standpoint that the bulls are still in control, even though just barely so on the daily EMAs. Let me go to a couple more indicators, and I'm going to look at your questions. A couple things I wanted to point out. The TD, okay, daily, we could be starting a 1 count here, looking decent. Weekly, we are still in our negative. Oh, that's not the one I want to use. I want to use this one. There we go. Weekly, we are still in our red 1. This can be a green 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 with a close above 10.8. Okay, and if this was a green 6 with a weekly close above 10.8, then you could honestly target several more weeks of an uptrend of bullish price action. But there's still a long way between then and the close of this week. 3-day, still in a bearish red 5. Daily, there's our green 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as long as Bitcoin closes above 10,188, this will continue to be a green 1. Starting a new 1 on our 12-hour after only a 4 count there. It was the 4-hour that was interesting to me, right? Was there a 9 down here somewhere? Oh, I only got to a 7 here. We are on an 8 on the 4-hour. So we're getting a little closer to some bullish exhaustion here. Getting out to a 6 on the hourly here. So we probably have a little more consolidation to do because of the strength of this move. When we move this quickly here, we got to let our moving averages kind of catch up. So again, we're looking at a little bit of overextension on lower time frames and potentially bullish running room on higher time frames. Keep note of that. Cloud, the only thing that made importance in the cloud was regaining cloud support here in the weekly. Close above 10.2 is ideal for Bitcoin to close out a very strong week. And EMAs, we are still way above EMAs on the weekly. On the 3-day, we are above the 50 on the daily, which is good, regain 50 support. And then everything lower is mostly in a bearish stance here where we're below the 50. So look at below the 50 on the 12-hour and then bullish on the daily and higher. So you see what I'm talking about here. Higher time frames look a lot better than lower time frames. Lower time frames are starting to pull themselves out of the muck. Higher time frames are not as good as they looked a couple days ago, but are still holding an overall bullish stance. But they had running room because Bitcoin has been so bullish. And lastly, I want to focus on the Bollingers. Middle Bollinger resistance, 11,000. Because we have once again regained lower Bollinger support. 11K in Bitcoin is definitely possible. Look for 11.1 to test middle Bollinger resistance if it can get that high. Lower time frames still haven't reached middle Bollinger, so there's running room still with the BB on the lower time frame, 6-hour 11.2. So there's confluence there at 11.2. And then the very last thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to go right to your questions, is a couple things I posted yesterday. And that's basically looking at the chart in 2 ways from a Fibonacci standpoint. The first is to look at it from climbing up the mountain from Bitcoin 20K to Bitcoin 3K. Okay, we have found support. This is important, people. We have found support on the 382. Here it is. Boom, boom, double wick above the 382. Well, that's the 2-day, that's why. But still, above the 382, above the 382, 3-day 382. Weekly, obviously, 382. So my point here is that the 382, this base camp, is holding. And because it is holding on a Fibonacci level, the target of the 55 could definitely be in play. And that would be another retest of 12,000, which would still hold the lower high, but would still test the next Fibonacci resistance on the way up. A failure to hold the 382 would have put the $7,000 in play. But for now, it is holding. And if the bullish count holds, then this is the bullish fib I would be referring to. But if the top is in, and if the bears are actually in control, and this is a downward cycle, okay, then we got to look at this from the other way, that we are retracing, and we're actually trying to calculate the retracement of the move and the ideal areas of support. And in that context, in the bearish context, I see this as 382 support and running room to the 236 to test it as resistance. And that's at $11,300. So there's still two ways to look at this. One is a retracement of the bullish move, and one is the retracement of the bullish move up the mountain, and the other is the retracement of the bearish move going down the mountain based on this pricing only and not the entire swath here. If this is bullish and we have started some sort of a fifth wave, then we are assuming a couple things here. We are assuming that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that wouldn't be grand super cycle. That would just be super cycle. Actually, I just call it cycle. And which means we would get some sort of a fifth wave, probably truncated because of how long 3 is. You know, something like, golden pocket. Maybe we get up to 15,000, 15,000, 16,000, somewhere in that range there. That could be like a good target. And that's the assumption that we are in a fifth wave here. Otherwise, we are in a larger correction in which we've already put in our 5 here. And now we are doing some sort of a zigzag corrective move here, but the bearishness is already in, and the major pullback of the parabolic move is still ongoing. These are scenarios I'll be watching for over the next several days of price action. Volume and price will dictate as such. All right, enough talking for me. Let me go to the chat room and see what everybody's talking about. Remember, guys, please hit that thumbs up button and a follow on YouTube. Got 89 of my closest friends. Let's try and see 89 thumbs up. What's up, Crypto House? Claiborne Taylor, Mio, hello, Jeanette. Hey, Jay Stroud. What's up, Dragon Man? Filippo, hey, Bleeding Crypto, my good buddy. Remember to follow him on Twitter. He's a great guy with great content. Malik Sony, Danal, Kika, Cornholio, Jay Constant. What's up, buddy? Pedro and Pat Can. All right, so who got some questions? Hi, do I see Bitcoin? All right, so Kika wants to know if I see BTC going below 9K again. I say absolutely. We're not that far from it. And until, and this is what I'm looking at here, all sorts of head and shoulders, right? We had our, where is it here? Where, I always forget where the heck that, it's here, right? Yeah, it's here. There it is. I put a tweet out on this, and it totally played out, right? And that was our head and shoulders that way. And we derived a viable target, neckline to headline, and look where we fell. Literally right there to complete our head and shoulders. Now, are we doing something like, drumroll please, an inverse head and shoulders here? Let's bring this little, I guess, Keep that there. Keep that there. Bring this up a little higher. Something like this, and we're probably not even done with this leg here, to tell you the truth. So I'd be looking for something like this on a bullish side, potentially. Which there it is. There's that 12.7, which would be the lower high. Wow, almost perfectly. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So if this plays out like this and hits that lower high and gets rejected, comes back down, then yes, I think the break of 10K is very possible again. This is a good bounce here. This is still a very notable bounce from the 10K area. And the fact that, the fact that it's held after being penetrated several times here, this one and then this lower one here. But for now, we're still in a corrective move from a resistance of 13.8 and a resistance of 13.1. So which means Bitcoin can still rise higher, not as high, and then still put in a lower low, just as I keep putting in lower highs. All right, BAT and ZRX. Take a look at those. Ether. Sure, take a look at those. So altcoins had a good day yesterday, didn't they? Remember the USDT pairings, okay? They only relate in terms of the BTC pairings divergence off of Bitcoin. So Litecoin goes up dollar-wise and Bitcoin goes up dollar-wise. But Litecoin goes up more of a percentage-wise because Litecoin LTC BTC is actually showing bullish divergence. So you really want to look at the BTC pairings to get a sense of the chart, and if the chart can look better than the USD, because the USD will rise regardless. If Bitcoin is worth more, the USD pairing will be worth more. And what you want to see is the divergence of the BTC pairing give you a signal that if an alt is a better play than Bitcoin. So for instance, ZRX, I'm on the BTC pairing. We definitely did have a nice bounce here. We were at 2,000 sats, bounced to 2,500, come back to 2,200. So we are holding a higher low. The chart itself looks pretty rough, to tell you the truth here. I want to let's go to the weekly. So the weekly definitely has a nice inverted hammer here. This is a bullish candle. Okay, even with the upper wick here, this is a nice bottom inverted hammer. And what you tend to get with something like this can be a Maribozu the follow-up week. So if this candle closes up somewhat like this, that's actually a good bottoming candle on the weekly. And I bet you I erased these because I had to put something on. So Stoch, RSI, there you are. And then OBV, there you are. So yeah, like the weekly RSI is super low, 25. So yeah, I mean, I see ZRX now more as like an alt bottom feeder. It's fallen so much, a relief bounce. Could take it, I would say, maybe back to 4,000 sats, which would still be a very nice move there. Crap, that'd be that'd be almost 100%. Oh, not that high. Right here. Yeah, it's a big move there, about 70% move there. So there's probably running room to get, or at least to the bottom wicks here, because there was nice support here, back-to-back weeks in a row, and then it failed. So yeah, if this has momentum, this is probably good value for at least another 1,000 sats, up to about 3,200, providing that this candle closes like this or better in the next 3 days when the weekly candle closes. What was the other one there? BAT. Take a look at BAT. BAT. BTC. Yeesh. All right, BAT looks abysmal. So you see the difference between what this weekly candle looks like and what the ZRX candle looks like. ZRX candle looks a heck of a lot better than this. Weekly Stoke is dead pancake. Dead pancake, we call that. Let me get this wider. There we go. Oops. Dead pancake. Weekly RSI is 35 and still has room to fall. I don't see a bottom yet for BAT. I do not see a bottom yet. This was such a great chart too. I remember this had this very, very nice ascending triangle here. Look at that. Broke that. Dead. I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. The only saving grace is there is a horizontal right here. Corresponds right here. Might be a little support here because there was a nice bounce there before. Might save it for the time being over 2,000 sats. And God, the TD count must be... Yeah, there was our 9 2 weeks ago. So we started a brand new count on the run down there. I don't like BAT. I don't like it. I like ZRX a lot better than BAT if I want to compare the two. J Constant wants ADA. Let's take a look at ADA. We're on a weekly 6. RSI. Ooh, RSI. See, RSI is hitting 30 on the nose there. First touch of 30 ever on the weekly. Well, I guess on this exchange. What is Binance? And Stoke is terrible. OBV is even worse. Guys, this is why I like to use OBV. This tells me this is just dumping. Get me out of this thing as humanly possible. I don't like Cardano here. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's just bleeding and there's no floor. Bleeding and there's no floor. Do a couple more here. Make sure you missed anybody. Dragon likes DGB. Take a look at the Digibytes. DGB. I think I have that in my alts thing. DGB, BTC. Yeesh. Weekly. Oh, OBV is pretty good still. RSI. So we got a higher low in the RSI. We got a slightly... So look at, we get the same. Yeah, this is actually showing a very slight bullish divergence. See how the RSI is basically dead stick here at 30 and the price is at a lower low? There's a little bit of support here around 110 sats. And it is just trying to hold, you can see this higher low from back here at 77. So might be a decent bottom feeding area here. I don't hate it. I don't hate the setup. It's just it's a shot in the dark though. But at this point, holds the higher low, holds the 30 on the RSI, OBV, still holding, and the Stoke with a slight bullish cross here in the weekly. So DGB is not terrible. Is not terrible. That's basically what I would call it. So, okay, so let's just go back to Bitcoin and then we'll finish it up. What do we got here? Half hour? That's about right. Bitcoin. Okay, so yeah, I'm basically still there. We're basically bullish on high time frames. We're bearish on low time frames. And we're turning bullish on low time frames. But we've established a resistance here at 10.7. And we have... I'd say 10,000 now becomes the real deal here. We're above it. Let's keep above it. So guys, hope you enjoyed spending this half hour with me. I enjoyed spending it with you. Please hit that thumbs up button. Check me out on Twitter. I'll continue to put out my thoughts and ideas of what I am seeing in the market. And look forward to talking to you guys soon. Because listen, Bitcoin is here to stay. Lots going to happen in the near future. I'm excited because Bitcoin, even with all the volatility, as a trader, I look at these volatile moves as basically opportunities. Using leverage, scalping long, scalping shorts. The key to a good trade is entry and exit. There's nothing worse than having a great entry, being in the money, feeling really good about yourself, and then not taking any money off the table and turning a winning trade into a losing trade. That's why the trader mentality, the successful trader mentality, needs to be able to open a trade and to close a trade. Otherwise, it's not a trade. And I can't tell you how many mistakes I've made over my career by not following that very simple rule, being too greedy. Even if I caught the long here, just an example, let's say I caught the long here under, been loading up here, okay? I would have scaled out a significant amount of my long, even if I thought Bitcoin could rise to 11K or even 12K, even if I thought this was the nut bottom and 20K here we come. As a trader, it wouldn't be prudent for me to be anywhere close to my original long position after a move such as this. Okay, I'd be taking money off the table. I'd be keeping my stop loss tight because I wouldn't want to lose any of this profit. And if a little move down, stops me out of my long trade, so that's great. That trade is completed, and now I wait for the next opportunity. Either wait for a better long on a pullback, or I wait for a nice juicy short if I feel the market gets too overextended. Just because you exit a long doesn't mean you have to enter a short. Because you exit a short doesn't mean you're entering a long. Wait for the best opportunities. They will come to you. Okay, guys, with that, you're the best. Talk to you soon. Peace.